Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm really excited about my guest today. We're talking about burnout, which is definitely something I think several people listening might be able to relate to, since we are overdoers oftentimes and perfectionistic. Burnout, something that we're no stranger to. So it's going to be a great conversation. And my guest is someone very special that I met only recently. And I'll talk about that in a minute when we get together. But I just want to say welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. If you're here for the first time, we talk about things like burnout. We talk about things like emotions and sexuality and intimacy and binge eating and anger. And God, we talk about so many different divergent things because they all converge around the topic of what's going on inside of us that might drive us to eat. Okay. So it's not about the eating. You know how to overeat and you know how to diet. So we don't really talk about that. We talk more about the underlying causes that drive us to eat things we don't feel good about, overeat, binge eat. And we got to get down to what's really going on. So the Heal Your Hunger Show is about healing your deeper hunger and what's making you hungry for food, even though it's not really food you're hungry for. So we get down to what you really are hungry for. And that's what we talk about here, because if we can go there and heal that, it will have a direct impact on your physical hunger or your sense of hunger, which might be emotional hunger. So that's what this is about. Welcome. Glad you're here. I talk a lot about my own personal experiences as well, because, hey, might as well do something good with all that binging I did. Binging and carrying around 50 extra pounds. You know, I want to put that to good use and use my mess as a message. Okay. We also do this show often in the Secret Sauce group. That's a Facebook group called the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. So definitely check us out there. Go there. Then we can connect with you and keep the conversation going. And lastly, if emotional eating is kind of a new term for you and you're not sure if you're an emotional eater, you can take a quiz, which is on my website, healyourhunger.com. Take the quiz, find out if you're an emotional eater or a food addict, and then what steps you can take based on your personalized score. It's a free quiz. It takes 3 minutes to take, but it's a good place to start. We have a Quit Sugar Challenge coming up. If you haven't signed up for the Quit Sugar Challenge, definitely do that. It's crazy inexpensive. I mean, if you knew all that we give, I'll be literally between the Quit Sugar Challenge ticket and a VIP ticket. So you can just buy the Quit Sugar Challenge ticket for $17. VIP is $47. But all told, if you're VIP, I'll be hanging out for literally 15 hours during the week of January 8th to the 12th. Isn't that crazy? And you might be like, well, why would I do that? Well, do you binge on sugar? Do you binge on carbs? Do you feel out of control when you eat things that are ooey gooey and chewy? Okay. So if you want to have success with weight loss, join the Quit Sugar Challenge. It's really fun for one thing. It's fun and we hang out, but it's all people who struggle with sugar and carbs. And I will show you step by step how to get those out of your diet in a way that you don't feel deprived. That's what the Quit Sugar Challenge is about. Go to quitsugarchallenge.com. Join us, buy your $17 ticket, upgrade to VIP because it's only $47 more, but you'll hang out with me for an hour after each class, an additional time together where you can ask questions, get coached, get extra support. But regardless, it's regular ticket, $17. That's crazy low. Problem with the ticket like that is you might actually not do anything. Okay. And I recognize that when we pay attention. So for $17, you might just blow it off and you're not blowing the Quit Sugar Challenge off. You're blowing yourself off. So don't do that. Take my gift of a really low cost ticket and then do something with it. Turn it into an amazing life of energy, health, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-love. That's what can happen when you join the Quit Sugar Challenge. Okay, enough about that. I'm so excited about my guest and I want you to meet her right now. Nicolette, Nico, hello, how are you?
Hello, Tricia. I'm very well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. This is super fun. I haven't told anybody yet about how we met. Do you want to do the honors on that one?
Yeah. We met a couple of months ago on Sardinia, on the island. We stayed in the same house for 5 days, seeing each other walking up and down in our underwear.
Right.
Didn't know each other yet. For Dutchies, that's no problem. But it seems that you didn't have much problem either with it.
Yeah, no, not really. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had a tournament. I was on the Dutch ultimate frisbee team for Old Farts, and your lovely boyfriend was on the same team as I. He's from
Yeah.
Holland as well.
Yeah.
So we had this 4 or 5 days tournament where I met you for the first time.
Yeah, that was a really wonderful 5 days. That was incredible for me. The Dutch team was so fun. You all have such big hearts, and you were very accepting of me because I was an outsider. Not only did I not play frisbee, but I also don't speak Dutch. You guys were all really sweet and welcoming.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very nice to have you on the sideline cheering for us.
Yeah, that was a blast. Wow. We were talking one night at dinner about your book and about what you do, and we specialize in burnout. And this is so important because the ladies I serve, the women I serve, and some men as well, we're no stranger to burnout because we are overeaters or overdoers. We tend to be perfectionistic. So we want to do a good job. We put a lot on our plate, so to speak, and we are kind of outdoing other people and trying to be perfect. And I would imagine those are traits that can lead to burnout. Would that be correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the personality I see often in people who get burned out.
Yeah.
Overachievers.
Yes, exactly.
Perfectionism.
Yeah.
Can
you talk a little bit, just to back it up a little bit, about what technically burnout is so people can start identifying it and seeing it in themselves?
Yeah. So when people are burned out, they have 4 symptoms mainly. So they seem to be exhausted, either tired or really exhausted, mentally and physically, emotionally exhausted as well. So they can cry easily or being angry. They don't recognize themselves in how emotional they are. The third symptom is they have brain fog. That means that they cannot focus very well anymore. They have problems with their memory. So tasks takes longer, or they forget things, or they cannot do their tasks as they were used to. And then the fourth symptom is they get distracted from the people around them and their work. So they don't care that much anymore as they used to be.
So we call that apathetic?
Yeah, in depersonalization, detachment.
Yeah, where you just don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit anymore because you cannot handle it anymore.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a coping strategy.
Yes.
Which is also needed to get a step back.
Yes.
To heal from all this stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they can even get distracted from their own kids or their family. And they feel very bad about it.
It sounds like depression also.
It's very similar also to depression. The doctors have a hard time to diagnose the differences.
Okay. But it comes from overdoing, right? Like we were talking earlier, the World Health Organization thinks of burnout being professional, but you can burn out from being a mom, right? Or having duties in the house or whatever. Yeah.
So the World Health Organization says it's a workplace overstressed situation, but I don't believe in that. I think it could be either private or work, and it's hard to divide it. Also, people who don't work, they might take care of their parents, or they are parents with a difficult situation at home. They could get burned out.
Right.
And the cause is too much stress for too long and not taking care of that.
Yeah. And boy, isn't that so common, I would say, among women especially. Do you find this to be more common in women?
Yeah, a little bit more women are affected to burnout.
Yeah. And I think that's because, that for women and emotional eaters, maybe even a little bit more, but we have a sense that it's all on our shoulders. So we assume responsibility and we don't take care of ourselves. Like we don't prioritize self-care.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that women get a bit more burned out. I think they intend to be a bit more perfectionism in women than in men. I'm not sure about it, but I do see that in my practice. But also women go to a coach, a burnout coach, health coach. They seek for professional help easier than men. So men are more intent to keep it for themselves.
Right,
Maybe they are more ashamed. They have to be more strong and macho, and they don't want to share their story.
Right. So at least women are more inclined to say, I need help with this,
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I would imagine there's other symptoms that are offshoots of burnout, like overeating for one thing, like just unconsciously eating or comforting oneself with food, maybe drinking or smoking pot. Or do you see that? These are some of the coping skills people turn to.
Yeah. So when people are overstressed, they don't sleep well. So they are tired and they don't feel well. They seem to take more drugs.
Yeah.
And food can be a drug.
Yeah.
So you feel better. And what I see often with people who are burned out, they either get thinner.
Yeah, they stop eating. They either overeat or don't eat.
Or they have the same eating pattern, but because of the high stress hormone of cortisol, who takes care of the blood sugar, if it's a dysregulation of high cortisol, people can get fatter, especially in the stomach, it seems to be. Nowadays, they have more research on that stomach fat is more unhealthy because it can get inflammations of the organs.
Yep, we call it metabolic syndrome. This is bad news bears. I mean, stress is so bad for us, for us, like you said, on every level, not just physical, but emotional and mental as well. So people come to you. I would imagine people would call themselves depressed or stressed, but not think in terms of burnout. Exactly.
Yeah. How do I recognize it? I ask for the 4 symptoms: the brain fog, the distraction, the emotional dysregulation, and how tired they are. So that's one thing. That's the main symptoms. There are also a couple of other systems, like they have body issues, often stomach or neck or headaches.
Okay. Ailments, basically.
I do test them. I have a burnout test they do online.
Okay.
But the diagnosis needs to be done by professional doctors.
Okay. I'd be surprised if doctors in the US, unless they're holistic, would even think of burnout. That's a terrible thing to say, but I'm just saying, either in your country or my country, how common is it that someone would go ding, 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 this is burnout?
Yeah, nowadays there's a lot of exposure on burnout because it's such a huge mental illness in the Netherlands. 1 out of 8 people has burnout problems, which is not burned out, but they have these symptoms, what they can lead to burnout. So there is a lot of research, but still doctors find it very hard to diagnose it, because it has a lot of overlap with depression and with fear disorder. People who are, they have anxiety.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is doctors would call it anxiety or depression and prescribe a medication. And will that help somebody who's in burnout?
No. So to have the right diagnosis is very important. For one reason, you don't get healed by depression and antidepressant
medication.
And if people are depressed, you want to stimulate them to work out and to go out. When people are really badly burned out, they really need to rest, and the medicine won't help.
Okay,
it's a different treatment, especially in the beginning. If they go through that first phase, then they need to go out and get stronger, but very slowly, because of the hormonal dysregulation. The recovery is very much slowed down. So they need to take care of longer recovery before they train or practice again. And you're right. Doctors find it hard to give the right.
So rest is one thing. Once you diagnose somebody or they get a diagnosis, how else would you help them?
With a lot of information, telling them they are not stupid, they didn't make a foul by not noticing it on time, confirming that they are okay and this will pass, this is a phase, and give them advices so they recognize all their symptoms. That is burned out. That helps them a lot. They get rest. Okay, I'm not crazy. This is my burnout, because they don't recognize themselves anymore. They get anxiety out of that. The treatment is in the beginning. If the exhaustion is big, advise them about sleep hygiene, because that's the first thing they need. They need to have good sleep. And then talk to them about rest. They need a lot of rests during the day. After everything they do, like doing the laundry, bit by bit, they need a pause, because the system otherwise gets more and more cortisol.
Right.
So everything in the treatment is to get the cortisol down. If it
Okay.
doesn't go down, they won't recover. I do a lot of body work because they intend not to feel their body anymore as much as they used to.
Okay.
They are disconnected also to their body and their symptoms. So right from the start, I do body meditation, body scans, breathing exercises, because breathing is a shortcut to the nervous system to slow down.
Beautiful. And just what people don't know about you is you are a yogi and you lead retreats for yoga. And during our time in Sardinia, she led the Dutch team in yoga poses and stretching exercises prior to the games.
Yes.
That was really sweet. On the beach. That was awesome.
I have a background in sports. I'm a sport teacher. I do a lot of yoga myself. And I'm a physiotherapist. I was a physiotherapist. Now I'm a health coach.
Yeah.
So body work is really a big part of the treatment I use in my coaching. I'm a holistic coach.
And do you do most of what you do in person or on Zoom?
I do almost everything in person.
Okay. In the Netherlands. Got it.
In the Netherlands. Netherlands is a small country. Sometimes I do in Zoom if people are too tired to come to my practice.
Got it.
Yeah,
obviously, if you can touch them and help them move their bodies, it's really powerful.
Yeah. Massages as well.
Massages, okay.
To help them relax, because relaxing is really hard. If cortisol is sky high, they have problems relaxing. They get frustrated by meditating.
Yeah. Who wants to sit still?
Yeah.
It's really powerful. And what I'm hearing is the overarching message, though, is gentleness, right?
Yeah.
Gentleness and self-care and slowing down.
Right, definitely.
Which is not easy for people who are driven.
Right. So when they get too frustrated on sitting down and doing breathing exercises, I do let them use movements in the beginning, very slow yoga or yin yoga, because some people, they get more stressed by just sitting. Walking, by the way, everybody needs to walk every day.
Amen.
If it's 5 minutes or 10, slowly, not in the fifth gear or in the fourth gear, but in the third or second gear. So research shows how healthy walking is, especially in nature.
I love that. And that's one of my self-care secrets that I teach my clients is doing gentle walking, not power walking. I love that. Well, I would encourage you to do some of your work on Zoom, because if somebody's listening here and wants to coach with you, obviously it's very possible it won't be in the Netherlands. Or they won't be in the Netherlands. So
yes, feel free to reach out if you need help and I can support you.
I love that. Yeah, that's really sweet. And congratulations on your book.
Yes, I will show you my book.
Yes, it's lovely. And in English, what does it say?
It says Survival Guide for Burnout.
For Burnout.
Yeah.
It's lovely. Look, so I was with Nico. She was working on this book, finishing it up. So it just came out so lovely. It's only in Dutch right now for those who are curious. But hopefully it'll be in English.
I hope it will be translated in English. First, we need to see how it will sell here before our publisher thinks about translating it in English.
Okay.
And the nice thing in the book, what I hear people really like, is there are portraits of people who were burned out, because there's such a taboo. There are 7 stories with a picture, and they tell their story, how they were burned out, what they've find difficult, and tips and tricks for the readers.
Got it. So I love that. Yeah, because we need to be inspired and see, because when we're in it, right? I mean, this is true for depression. I know because I've had it, but when we're in it, we think we're never gonna overcome it.
Yes. Yes.
And yet we can.
Depression is one of the side symptoms as well. And of course, you get depressed if you are out of order for a half year, a year. Burnout can take between 6 months and 1.5 years or 2 years even, which is huge. Also for the partners and the relatives and the team at work.
Yeah. And I would think also, Nico, that it's really important that people, and again, this comes back to the gentleness, but they don't judge themselves and the timeline for what it takes to get better. Yeah,
definitely. So self-love is a big topic in my book.
Yeah.
Self-love. And movement, relaxation, that are the topics, how you can heal yourself, which is hard. And sometimes you need your support group, or a therapist or a coach.
Yeah, I love that. And that's certainly true for overcoming emotional eating. It's a lifelong addiction or addictive habit. And it's probably not going to happen on your own because we're our worst enemy. And we drive ourselves to eat because of the stress, right? Because of the high cortisol, because of the perfectionism. And that's why it helps to have that outside help, that outside voice that can say, okay, you're doing good, but you need to slow down and you're going to be okay if you don't run the world.
Yes, right. Yeah. Another characteristic, I don't know if that's the same with people who have eating disorders, is the characteristic of not being open about yourself is one of the characteristics who gets easier burned out.
Like you don't talk about your feelings, you don't express yourself. Yeah, big time for emotional eaters. We tend to want to be perfect, so we have a smile on our face. We don't say what we're really feeling.
Yeah.
We think we should have it all together, and we have shame when we don't.
So that's great that you have this community where people are easier to open up.
Absolutely vital. It's vital.
Yeah.
We have to come out of that darkness and those shadows and talk about how we're really feeling. And there's so much relief in that.
Yes. So that's what I support people to do.
Yeah, I love that.
To one or two people. And then they find out that, okay, they're not alone and they're not strange. Yeah,
I love it. Well, there's so much alignment. I knew there was when I first met you and then we started talking. It's like there's so much crossover with what we both are passionate about. So thanks for talking about it. Can you share with people your website?
Yeah, the website is in Dutch.
Okay, but they could reach you there because you obviously speak English.
Do you do show notes?
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
Put it in the show notes, and then we put my website and also the contact details.
Perfect. Let's do that. Well, congratulations again. Thanks for coming on the show. It's wonderful to have you. I have one last question for you, Nico, which I ask all my guests. And since this is the Heal Your Hunger show, what is your deepest hunger?
My deepest hunger emotionally, I think I was always hunger for attention. Yeah, from men. I grew up with a father with 3 brothers, and I was one of the guys. And my mom is not very feminine. So a long time I was hunger for attention from men to show them for my feminism.
Now, obviously, you've done a lot of work on yourself.
Yeah, I did need some work on that. I did everything in NLP to teach myself as a coach, but I also went to an NLP coach, finding out what the problem was, because I was cheating on my boyfriends before a lot.
Okay, because you had that incessant hunger for attention.
Yeah, and I'm a very physical woman, and I don't mind kissing, and my boyfriends did, most of them, but I'm healed. So there's no part of me wants to get that attention anymore. I have the best husband.
Sweet.
And he trusts me, and I trust myself, and it's healed.
I love that.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm very hungry in treating people. With my book, I would like to reach a lot of people who really needs help. And if I can empower them and help them get out of it and maybe even a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
Or just accepting the version they are already.
Yeah.
That will be great. That's my hunger.
I love it. I love that. I like your 2-part answer. That's great. Your former hunger and your current hunger. I love it. Well, thanks so much, Nico. It's great to have you. I hope I get to see you again soon.
Yes, Trish.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.